Welcome to Three Things. Tonight's guest is a well-known name on White Sox Twitter. He's a producer on SiriusXM, working on lots of your favorite fantasy sports shows. He hosts a UMass basketball podcast, which probably means he's best buddies with Marcus Camby. He posts a weekly #FridayFollow thread on Sox Twitter that I really enjoy and pick up new follows from often. The man hosts Twitter polls to decide his new profile pic on the regular, and he's one of the last Ricky Renteria stands in our community. I'd like to give a nice, warm 108 welcome to Bennett Karoll. Bennett, welcome to Three Things.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. It is an honor, and I will stand Ricky till I die. The end of time. It doesn't matter if he's managing a little league team in Oregon. He's God.
Well, people want him back now.
Yeah. It's like, give him my dick back. Give him my dick back. We want him back. We're used to him.
You pave paradise, you put it in a parking lot. You don't know what you've got till it's gone.
That's true.
Yes.
Absolutely true. All this time when we were standing Ricky, or especially me standing Ricky, it was all just like I thought, overreaction from the fans. Overreaction. We're just going to push back. This isn't as bad as it seems or whatever. And then I found myself, I was like, I think he's pretty decent at his job. And then, like, no one thought that. Like, 4 people thought that. Like, me, you, Ben, and then these guys went along for the ride with me only because they didn't want to make fun of me so hard. But
no, that's not true. I just don't think the managerial position is like that important. Like I think that if you don't have good players, you're not going to have a good team. And it frustrated me after the fact when they said Ricky's like, "Hey, give me another pitcher," and they're like, "You get no pitchers," and then they're like, "You lost because you didn't have a pitcher for that third game," and it's just like that's not his fault. Like, he knew what was up. Like, it's like, and that's not metrics. That's not your gut. That's not nothing. That's fucking just like, we all knew that. We were sitting in the hot tub discussing this team, and we're like, they don't have a third starter. I don't know how long they're going to go in the playoffs. Like, this is just, I don't know how this is going to happen. And if the guys over on 35th and Shields don't get it, like, and we get it, I mean, they all get it. Everyone knows what the deal was. And the writing was just on the wall for Ricky, because apparently the White Sox just hate Mexicans. So that's what
Yeah, like I read something today, and it was put really well, which is like the managerial position has never been like less of a decision-making position. That, like, at this point, all it is doing using strategies the front office gives them. And so, like, yes, you see they butt heads, and like Ricky doesn't love analytics. Yeah, like, that's an issue. In 2020, 2021, you can't just say your gut only. That doesn't work. But at the same time, when he goes, as one of them drops out, as he goes, like, this is what we need. Like, we can do something if we go here, and just be told not only no, but he then tries something analytical that he's never done before, and it fails because of an injury, and now you're fucked and you're fired. I can swear.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay,
you
good.
have
Right,
to.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to swear a lot. I have an issue
swear
with
all you
times,
No,
can.
we
but-
encourage it. We encourage it on this show. Yeah,
You should be used to swearing. You're on Sirius, for Christ's sake. That's the whole point. Like, that's the whole
You know what's
reason
funny
that people
is,
get serious is for the swears.
That's true, and my good friends and colleagues at some of the other channels get to. We're generally considered a family station, so very few swear words, and if they do come out, it's normally a call from the boss.
Oh, wow.
So,
man.
So Bennett, in this vein, I had heard a guy who I think you work with, an on-air talent who I believe you work with, Chris Liss, mention that when they do stuff on YouTube, that you cannot monetize YouTube if you have swearing. That they were told that they need to keep the show clean, otherwise you can't put it on YouTube and get money back from it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I could see the angle there if that is the case.
Yeah, so it's funny. I think Chris Liss might be the only one who gets away with it. He'll just drop a bullshit in on a random Monday, and like we won't hear about it. And it's just, he's kind of, I think we were joking about it this week. I work with him 3 days a week at this one. We were joking about not lowering expectations, but like just, like, okay, you know what? I won't call a caller's mother a whore this week. Like, put it down week by week, and I can slip in a bullshit. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But Chris is great.
Well,
with
this is what I was going to
YouTube,
ask.
I know it's something like that.
Because I'm actually a big fan of Chris, and I listen to Sirius when I'm in the car more, and then obviously we haven't been in the car very much lately. So, but I do listen to his podcast, the Real Man Wood podcast, and I don't always agree with his what his conclusions are, but I like the way he thinks about things. He's a little bit of an esoteric thinker, but he's also a bit of a jag on the show. And so I wanted to ask you, is he a bit of a jag in real life, like in a fun way, is what I mean?
Yeah, he's like playfully an asshole.
Yeah,
Like
on the show.
Like he's always willing to like dig in and kind of be a dick about something, but laugh about it after. Like, if you listen to like our show, like he'll regularly be like, yeah, like that's cool and all, but like, have you considered the way that, unchained economical growth, and like go off on something and just come back. And by the way, Teddy Bridgewater sucks. Like it's a great time. He's really fun to chat with because he can talk about just about anything too.
I like the way he approaches the problem, and he actually on their podcast today he talked about the Blake Snell thing in a way that was different than what I'd heard anyone else say. And Treasy, you'll like this. He talked about using metrics the way the Rays do, sort of a base rate way. So when you're going to make the same bet over and over and over again, and you got a 55-45 edge, well, that's a big edge, and you're going to win long term. He said, only when the bet sizes are all the same. When you get to the World Series, the bet size is way bigger, and so you got to dig in deeper on that individual decision that you're making. I thought this is a great way to explain this, because what Kevin Cash did makes sense all 162 days of the season, and maybe it did make sense in that game. I don't know, but there's more layers to it when it's Game 6 and it's an elimination game, and so I thought this was a great way to sort of bring it up. So it's really almost
like you have this same 55-45 split, but your bankroll has shrunk, right? Like you only have $100 to bet with, right? You're like Mikey and Swingers. You don't want to bet at all because this is your rent money. Like that's the point you're at, and so it's a different bet. It's a different calculation when you get to that kind of point, and that is a great way to put it. I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, that's awesome.
Me either, and it's he does a good job of taking apart those sorts of points. But along that vein, Tony La Russa today, Bennett. Initial reactions. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the Tony La Russa thing.
I think my first quote on it was like, if it happens, I'll probably laugh for a week and then sob miserably. I think it was as soon as up until the press conference, I was laughing the entire time. Because this is legitimately, if you told Tony La Russa tomorrow morning, like that was a dream, like you got really drunk and passed out and you dreamed that you were the manager of the White Sox, like he might have believed it. But like when he got to that press conference, it was just like one answer after the other of like, yeah, like I'm still an old piece of shit and I may claim I'm learning things, but like I obviously haven't learned anything. And I regret what I said, but I'm still saying the same thing I said. Like
I regret saying it, but I still think it. That kind of thing.
Yeah, because I think he said it was like, I've learned so much. But still, I think it would need to be appropriate, and I'd have to think it was conscionable or whatever. So it doesn't change. Okay, cool.
But now, hey, would you like respect him more if he 100% walked it back? I don't think anybody would. I think people would be like, that's inauthentic. Like he's just doing that because people are now like, you're a dick because you said that. I kind of respect him a little more, just saying like, hey, listen. I'm going to take this as a case-by-case thing. If I think you're a fucking motherfucker, you're still a motherfucker, okay? Like, that's my old school mentality, with that whole deal. Like, I think you can't 100% just be like, switch streams. You're like, no. I'm 100% not racist.
Oh, yeah.
You can't say that.
Like, I'm not saying, like, yeah, like, I want you to be okay with bat flips on, like, a ball 4, in game 1 of the like. No, that's not what I'm saying. But like, he goes. Not only it wasn't even like the bat flip. It was there's not a racist bone in my body. I've managed this black player,
every black player he's ever met,
like
everyone he's ever managed. He'd obviously been coached, and they're like, remember Dave Henderson and every other black person.
Gotta
that's
say
been on all
Oscar
your
Gamble
teams.
first because you're with the White Sox.
That Lemon.
He was like
Make sure you take
Costanza.
that Lemon.
He was like Costanza bringing his exterminator to dinner.
I'll be honest with you, Bennett. When the first part of the answer, I thought, oh, okay, this answer's not bad. When he went to, I have black friends too, I thought, oh, no, how did you do that? Like, everyone knows that's not a good answer. Like, how would you do that?
I forget who said it. It might have been Nick Schaefer, who's like, has anyone who's ever said the phrase, I don't have a racist bone in my body, ever not had a racist bone in their body? Like, you just don't use that phrase.
It's a weird phrase.
Yeah, he should. He should have went. He should, like you said, my Sox summer. He should have said, "Look, I learned since that time. I don't believe that anymore, and I will embrace whatever the players think. I will listen to them." And he did also bring up that he thought, he watched Joe Madden talk to the Angels before the season, and he was enlightened by how he approached everything. It's like, okay, good. If he had just said that and said, like, I don't know, but he went down the stupid path. Like, I was upset he went down the dumb path. It's like, come on. Like, all you have to do is win this press conference. You're going to go on the field and have a good team. No one's going to know if you screwed up or not. I mean, they'll blame you if shit goes wrong. But if shit goes right, everyone's like, oh, this guy's a genius. All he had to do was not fuck up that press conference.
He probably did. He probably went off script there, like, and that's what fucked him up.
Yeah.
Like, he went with his heart, and then this is just me. I'm not speaking for the whole 108 here, but like, he also, like, we have to have our fans not continually retweet this shit about how our guy might be racist, because we kind of do want people to come here and like, I've seen it, not that somebody's like looking on Twitter, but they are looking on Twitter, and if they continually see Tony La Russa is fucking racist from our fucking fans, like, free agents are gonna be like, fuck no, I don't want to go there. Why would I want to go there?
Bulls free agency all over again.
It's just odd. It's odd that we take it, like, some fans take it so personally.
It depends.
They have to get out there and say,
do you want Papelbon to be the closer? We might work this out.
Maybe John Rocker could come out.
Let's say John Rocker, needs a few more batteries to throw at him. It's fine.
Yeah. So
now, Teresa, you had brought up a point about the 180 that you saw with Han. You wanna bring that through here?
Oh yeah, man. So it's funny because Herbie mentioned it. It was just the he said that Jerry had talked to Tony, and then there was a consensus that we want to hire this guy. And I said, that was some karma shit right there, because he had just recently gone, like, we came to a consensus that Ricky should be fired. Like, him and Ricky came to this consensus.
Right, a mutual agreement. Yeah.
Right. Well, guess what? Now you have to come to a consensus that this is the manager you get. Like, you know what? I get that he did not like this. We could see by the look on his face. It was
obvious, yeah.
But
didn't look like it.
At the same time, you get what you get, motherfucker. You try and give that out, you get it back. That's how it works.
Oh, what was the line? It was he very clearly, like, after Jerry, it was like Jerry's adventure with him or whatever. After Jerry talked to him, the idea came up. I was like, oh, okay. Like, second sentence, he is washing his hands of this whole situation. He is no fault haunting himself. He's making it very clear.
I feel like Jerry he doesn't, but I feel like Jerry has like a Lauren Michaels voice, like, and he comes in and he's like, but Rick, look at Tony's won a lot of World Series rings. Like, why don't we want him? And Rick is like, are you serious? Like, should we not like contact anybody else? No, let's give Tony a shot. Like, it will come full circle for me here. Like, I always regretted it. I'm bringing him back. I'm going to make it happen. So
the thought I had, like, the last 20 or 30 minutes, and it really kind of came out of nowhere, is the thing I feel like we're not talking about. Okay, Tony La Russa is the manager, like, period, end of story. Like, Jerry Reinsdorf is not as loyal as he paints himself to be and whatever. We clearly know he's loyal with Tony La Russa, which means unless he decides to retire, we're getting minimum 3, 4 years.
I think.
2 to 3, yeah.
Yep, something like that.
If he wants to retire after 1 or 2, fine, but you're in for the long haul now too. This is
The
not
window,
something that even
the window belongs to Tony.
yes.
Yes,
It does.
That's what it is. That's what we got today.
Tony LaFenster, yes.
Now,
I wanna-
what was
Go
interesting to me is like, you mentioned it, Teresi. You mentioned, this is like he brought in one of his guys. Does Tony skip Rick Hahn in the pecking order now when decisions start being made? So let's say we get to the trade deadline again, and the Sox are looking like they're probably a playoff team. Now, last time the manager said, "Hey, I need some shit," and Rick Hahn was able to overrule him and say no. But now, if Tony La Russa says, "I need some shit," will that change with the dynamic here? Will Rick Hahn sort of be in a spot where, hey, you're going go out in the market and get some shit?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I've been, and relating to that, I've been saying from jump, because you've been seeing people from the minute it was like really pushed that today was going to be the day that, Hahn's going to resign. He's not resigning. He's not resigning tomorrow. He's not resigning next week. He's sticking around. If that starts to happen, where because no matter what, it's his roster. He built this. This is his
built
baby.
the roster. Yes.
If his roster starts to get fucked with, that's when I think you may see it. Because again, we're talking about it. Managers really only do like 2 things a game. Like managers really aren't super important beyond like motivation and the lineup. If you even want to believe that, depending on the manager. Right. But like if it starts to get like, Jerry comes down and goes, well, Tony said he needs 2 relievers. And I can do that. I'm Jewish. It's fine. If Rick has to do that, like, is Rick looking, and the Angels' job is gone, but is Rick looking in the wanted ads for assistant GM roles or whatever? Like, maybe.
And that's something that I brought up with the Herb thing too. It's like, if he's this good, and he knows, like, anything that's gone wrong usually gets blamed because Jerry wouldn't spend the money. So Rick's been down this road already, right? So Rick, Jerry's been the guy, like, preventing him from getting Manny Machado. He's been the guy preventing him to do this. So why would Rick think that all of a sudden, like, Jerry's gonna be like, you know what, you can hire whoever you want, Rick? Like, why would he just give him the keys to the car and be like, be back by 10? Like, he's not doing that. He's never done that. So if he thought that was a possibility, or he couldn't work him out of this whole thing, like, that's on Rick. Like, I mean, then he should fucking sack up and fucking leave and see where he can get a job. But I agree with you. He's not going anywhere because his track record isn't that good. Yeah. It isn't good enough for him to be gone. Right? Because you still sign bad players in positions when you could have signed a decent player for about the same price. And maybe he's been unlucky. I like Rick.
It's possible.
I've met Rick like 2 times. He's fucking nice as hell. Like, he's a very nice guy. He seems like a straight shooter. He lied to me and told me that he'd heard of the 108 before, like, he probably ever heard of the 108. So I respect him for that. But I also know that, like, I mean, he's not making any waves there to go, oh man, that guy's fucking awesome. Like, he had a good year because he had good talent, and the talent showed up. So, and that's not like a knock on him, but it's just what it is.
Yeah. The other thing and it's the way I look at it, maybe it says a lot more about me than him. Like, you're not going to get another job as a GM where you can be below 500 for 7 straight years, even if you're rebuilding.
Right.
And it's just going to be like, not only do we have faith in him, but we're going to give him the money this year and all that. Like, that doesn't happen. So, like, while I understand, okay, it's a pride thing, he can do this, whatever, like, that's not something you can just give up.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And from that perspective, like, I saw a lot of outcry on Twitter, feeling really bad for Hahn in this situation. I thought about it, and I don't know. I mean, in everyone else's jobs, like, you do get your power usurped sometimes. You do have to eat shit in a spot sometimes. And if you were on TV, you would probably look like Rick Hahn did. But it doesn't mean tomorrow you're like, I'm out the door. Tomorrow you're going to, like, okay, I'm going to wipe myself off. I'm going to figure out what we've got to fucking do. And I think that's probably more the approach. I think you're right, Bennett. Like, this is his roster. This is his baby. He's already brought this thing here. It looks, I mean, I think the over-under is a little generous right now at 90.5, but I mean, you add some talent. I think it's a 90-win team. Like you bring in a couple free agents, it's a 90-win team. So why leave now? Fuck that. I would want to stay.
I mean,
Get
also this is a guy they brought in a guy who will probably not fuck up anything. Like he probably won't make horrible decisions when things come to bear. Like, so you've got that. I think the main question that Rick Hahn has on his plate right now is where does he stack up when things are asked for? And what I'm going to say about this is, let's say it is La Russa gets to ask for players and then Hahn's got to figure it out. I feel like that's how most people envision the manager and want the manager to be. Like if I'm looking at the way that people like talk about managers and think the control that they have, because they don't like
exactly.
I think that's what people envision them, because they grew up like me watching baseball in the 80s and the 90s, and those guys did have that kind of say in the organization. They did have the ability to say, I'm doing everything past you sign free agents in the offseason that I told you I want. That they get to do everything. That's not how that shit is now, but that's how people envision it. And now we're possibly going back to that. Why are people mad?
I think it's funny. I've been on this I have been recently trying to be on Twitter less because, as you guys all know, I'm on Twitter too much. So I have a daily limit on my phone that usually if I'm doing, I wasn't working today, so I was on it more, and it was this, so I was doubly on it more. If I'm working 8, 9 o'clock, I'll probably hit it. Okay, fine. I'll try, put it away or remind me in 10 minutes and finish up whatever. Yeah. Today I hit it at like 10 a.m.
Hell yeah.
I'm just all day. But so, where's my point going with this? Tony, shit, I completely lost my train of thought.
Been limiting your time on Twitter.
I was going to say, Tracy was saying that the manager now, this manager will be like the old school managers where they had a lot of control.
Yeah. So it's weird. Like it's similar to how I think it should have been last year, which is it's not like I'm going to go get the player. Like it should be an ongoing, and I'm planning for 2020 because I'm me. I think it should be an ongoing conversation with the two of them where literally it'd be like, oh man, Jace Fry didn't pitch well today. Like today, fine. Okay, Jace Fry didn't pitch well 2 times in a row. Maybe look at a few arms. We might have interest in something like that. But what's really funny is, because we're talking about defending Hahn and fighting for Hahn, is the White Sox Twitter war has shifted entirely. We're on a different – it was pro-Hahn and anti-Hahn for years. It is old head versus new head now. It's completely different. It is I love 1983 versus it is 2020.
Ben, I would agree.
But here's the problem. I don't think people know what side they're on. I don't think people know what side they're on. Because I think people who are like, oh, I want an analytical manager, they don't realize what they want is that, not that the manager knows what's going on and the manager's doing something and the manager's in charge. What they want is the GM telling them, this is the shit that you do.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the people that are like, man, I just want to let the manager manage and give them some good players. Also, not what you want. What you want is the manager to be able to tell them who they sign. Like people I don't truly think they get what they want.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if people know if they're an old head or a new head, but people are definitely opinionated. I'll tell you that. That shit's coming out today.
It switched this week when Kevin Cash made that decision in that game. They 2 weeks before that, we need a new guy in that believes in analytics and needs to be there. Rick Renneria does not believe in analytics. Fuck him. And then analytics get plopped in the World Series. Game 6 of the World Series.
Right.
He has made this decision so many times and has got them to Game 6 in the World Series, and people are still like, man, fucking analytics ruined the game, man. This is bullshit. It's like I was so like. And Ben, this is what happens. Like I have my Frank the Tank moments like that, and I'm like, this is pissing me off. Like, and I don't even know baseball. And I'm like, why you're flipping the script here? You can't continually move the goalposts on these people.
Yes.
Like you need to stick to it. You make a fucking decision and you live and die by it. And now we've made a decision, so we'll see what fuck happens, because it's gonna be interesting. Like our fans had to have known that we could potentially get somebody worse than Ricky Renteria. Like, and I don't think we got that in Tony La Russa. I don't think that we did at all. I think he's going to be fine.
Probably be okay.
It's going to be whatever. Now,
It's
the social aspect of it might be worse. 100%.
It's gonna be.
We'll see how that works out too. He could be better. We'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe him and
not
Tim
a
Anderson
train
will
wreck.
start a YouTube channel, like Riding with La Russa, and they'll just like chill in the south side of Chicago, and they'll drive up and down, and they'll look at graffiti, and Tony will be like, I see the art in this shit. I see it.
But yeah,
And
let's
then-
let's not have Tony drive.
Tony
Tony can't
all I
drive.
ask.
He's in the back seat. He's got
That's
to be in
all
the
I
back
ask.
seat. He's drinking Pinot,
it's
but
an
he's in the
Uber.
back seat.
It's just an Uber.
It's an
Let's just
Uber,
be
yeah.
safe.
It's a good call. It's an Uber, and he drinks Pinot in the back.
I think I don't think he's, and again, I'm saying this is me, the Ricky guy. I don't think he's worse than Ricky Renteria in the sense that I think he similarly does something, probably will do some things well and probably won't do things well. But the difference is in 2020 and 21, where we're talking about the front office is so involved, the front office doing this. And again, if they change it and we're, going, the manager is doing more, fine. But like the most important thing a manager can do is have the faith of the locker room and have their ear and get their ass up to play. And that's Ricky's boys don't quit. Okay, they still showed up flat some games, but they're not showing up flat consistently. He knew how to get them going. They listened to him. If Tony La Russa doesn't have that, it's going to be a very long tenure, and not in a good way.
Yeah,
I think that he probably
true.
will have that because he does have the rings. And plus, he also has the respect of a lot of people because he has the rings. The problem I think that Ricky faced is that he got dumped by the Cubs, and everyone was like, okay, well, Rick can't go to the next step with the Cubs, so why would he go to the next step with the Sox? And I think that played into a lot of the shit that Rick would get because he was not the first choice. And it's not his fault. Like, I think that he did very well. He did exceptional with what he was given. And then he just couldn't get past that. No one respected him because of what he had done. Like he did grunt work and people treated him like a fucking grunt. So it's bullshit, but it's what happened.
It was really clear. It wasn't even on Rick Hahn's press conference when they announced he was fired. It was in the article that came later that day, where it suddenly went from we love Ricky, Ricky's great, to just I don't know if Ricky Renteria gets a major league coaching job again because of the way they buried him after that. And I get whatever, you had disagreements with him, fine. Buried the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was extremely weird. I didn't quite understand why that was kind of the approach. You could have just left amicably and said, look, the stakes are raised and we liked what he did and that's it. Moving along,
And you can even say if whoever, the Tigers call you and go tell me about Ricky Renteria, you can trash him to the Tigers.
Right.
Privately, who cares?
Yeah.
It's going out publicly and just destroying this man. That's just super unnecessary for me.
Yeah.
Well, that was thing one. It was a great thing one. We had excellent talk. Thing two, Bennett, you bring a question for the group.
All right. So this is going to be a little long-winded. I'll get there. I'm going to explain it a little bit.
Okay.
So I think for me, and if you don't know my background, moved out of Chicago when I was 1. I've been to 4 games at guaranteed rate. I'm very much not a Chicago fan. So for me, fandom isn't about going to games, but it's not the ballpark isn't the key part. Mm-hmm. So in a hypothetical situation, let's say 2020 happens, they make the playoffs, maybe they make the ALDS, whatever. November 1st, Jerry Reinsdorf announces he's selling the team. I thought about him having it being him die, but no. He sells the team to – he's never dying. It's he and Virginia McCaskey are immortal. They're never going to die. They're going to haunt us for the rest of our lives. He sells the team to some uppity tech billionaire.
Nice.
Whatever.
Nice. Like that. Yep.
16 got into college, 24 years worth $3 billion, whatever.
Yes. Love it.
He decides he's moving the team to Oklahoma City.
Sucks.
Oklahoma City White Sox. The stadium is built. It's perfect. It's done. They move before the 2022 season. What do you guys do as fans? Do you remain Oklahoma City White Sox fans? Do you find a new team? What team do you find? And how does your fandom affected if you're no longer near your team?
That's great.
And the fact that they're taken away obviously makes it more complicated.
Yeah.
But theoretically, I could have said you just get moved to Seattle or something. But this is
this is more realistic actually for all of us because we have kind of deep roots in the area, so it would be more rare for us to move. It may be more likely the team would move. So I like the question a lot.
And I thought about where they would go because my first thought was obviously Vegas because that's the popular spot. But for me, I know you right. I know you guys feel I would see more White Sox games if they were in Vegas than they were in Chicago.
No,
legitimately.
Yes,
I can't go to more than 80 games a year, Bennett. I mean, it's not physically possible.
Well, you're an animal, my Sox summer. You're a fucking animal.
Hey,
you're there.
You're right there too, there, Mr. Loaf. So don't give me that shit.
I only went to 70 last year.
That's what I think I went to. I think I went to 75 or something. But yeah, no, I'll start if you want me to start. I'm the most recent guy in the neighborhood. And the Sox were definitely, and I've talked with my wife about this, and I've talked about Bridgeport, and I go, I can retire in Bridgeport, which is not that far off because I don't have a job right now, other than raising kids. So I'm almost kind of retired. Kid. Well, I'm kind of retired though. I just make sandwiches all day. That's what I feel like retired people do.
Dude, you're gonna be back out there in a year or two. Right? Them kids gonna be in school and your ass gonna be working again.
So. I fucking hope so. So I could see myself retiring here, and I can always see myself staying just enough in shape to be able to walk down to Loaf's house to fucking slam 2 beers and then walk over to the park, and then have to piss halfway there and have to piss probably in the porta potty because I'll be 77. And we'll this is what we'll be doing. And so I'm I can see the end. So this is, first of all, it would be soul crushing to me if the White Sox left and went to Oklahoma. And not that I couldn't still root for the team, but I think I would just stop rooting for the team. Or not stop rooting for them, but just stop following it. I don't think I could do it. I definitely couldn't go and change teams and be a Cubs fan. I couldn't do that. It's not in my blood. I don't like those people. It just wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't want to live there or go up there and hang out. It's the North Side sucks. I've always hated the North Side. I hate downtown. I hate the North Side. I hate I like where I'm at. I like being able to park my car on the street sometimes, and I like the community atmosphere that's in Bridgeport. Whether it's fake or real, whatever, it doesn't matter. I like the community atmosphere. But yeah, I stopped watching NBA basketball after Michael Jordan retired the first time, and I feel like it would be very similar. I just don't think I would get back into the fandom if it's not right up the street. This is the most games I've ever watched on television was this year because we couldn't go to the game. Normally, I don't watch games on TV. If they're away, I'll get a score, I'll get an update. But when they're in town, that's when I watch baseball. It is because I'm sitting with these two hooligans. I'm drinking Goose Islands,
right.
and I'm sitting outside, sucking in fresh air. That's why I enjoy it as much as I do. So I think once that's taken away, I think we'd move on to something else. I don't know what we'd do, but we would do something. So, but yeah, I just don't think I would watch baseball as much anymore.
Yeah,
until the playoffs, because playoffs are awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what because I posted a version of that on Twitter once, and I think the most common one I got was like, yeah, I'll probably still pay attention, but like the fandom will fade, or it'll definitely lessen in the way I follow the team, which is fair.
Yeah, I'd go a slightly different route. I would obviously not become a Cubs fan. That sounds fucking terrible. But I also I don't think I would follow the team to Oklahoma City or wherever you put them. I mean, if you put them in Vegas, I probably stay with the team.
Vegas is its own island.
Other than that, I probably don't stay with the team. What I probably do is become a New York Mets fan. Yeah. And I think the pain is similar, the feeling is similar, and I love going to New York. So like I would probably still hit a bunch of games. And I'll tell you, if you're going to New York, that I love going out to the area that they're in too. So like that wouldn't even deter me. So like I think I would kind of easily transition over to a Mets fan. And I think that would be the way I'd go. I would absolutely have a cocaine covered Keith Hernandez jersey for every game that I go to.
You should have one right now. Actually.
Is it powdered sugar? Is it cocaine? You don't know. You just know that I'm walking to the park with powder on me.
Yeah, I grew up on Long Island, so I like literally in the upper deck at Shea Stadium was like every summer, like 2 or 3 times a year for camp, they'd just be like, yeah, we got the group rate where it's like 100 tickets for like $50. Like go sit up there. The buses are more expensive than the tickets.
Yep.
So yeah, like Mets and White Sox fandoms track on way more levels than you think, to the point that Jerry Reinsdorf is fucking them over right now, which is pretty funny.
Yes.
He's blocking Steve Cohen's purchase. It's so good. But yeah, like I think that's a really good call. So it's something similar, and it's not the same, but you're still getting a good amount of that experience.
Man, I can't believe I'm the only one. I would stick watching the White Sox consistently. I'd watch them on TV. I do watch them on TV when we're not at the game. And probably I'd plan at least one vacation a year around going either there or finding a road city and going to watch them for like a full series. I'm pretty I think I'm kind of dug in on my fandoms at this point. Like it's Sox is the heaviest. I still watch the Bears, even though I don't have the passion I used to have for the Bears. I still love watching the Bears, and I love when they win. Like I was excited when they beat Tampa Bay, like more excited than I probably should have been. So I still want the Bears to win. The Bulls lost me a little bit with the post Derek stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready to come back though. Like I think I'm gonna start watching again when this season starts up with the new GM and the new head coach, and just sort of like, all right, they're gonna start from the bottom. Like my Bulls fandom went back to like I could fucking remember when Jordan was there and they sucked. Like Dreezy and I were watching games and like the Bulls blow, but they have one good player, and it's one good player.
The Brad Sellers days. Brad Sellers days.
Oh my God! Like it's like you're watching it, and the home games weren't even on TV. Like you get 1 or 2 home games on TV a year, and it's like all the games on the road. I mean, I remember when they brought up in The Last Dance that fucking game that they won in Indiana. That was like Jordan couldn't play all the minutes. It was the Jordan broken foot year. And it's like they're gonna make the playoffs, and they have like 7 wins on the season. Like they're really like with 30 and 52. It's like this team is horrible. I can't believe they're in the playoffs. Like this was like tremendous to a 7-year-old or 8-year-old B-Flow, So like, I'd love for the Bulls to come back and at least be competitive. But yeah, no, I think I'm dug in on the Sox. This is my right now. I'm not watching a ton of sports. Like I'll put on football. I generally don't give a shit about any college football. I'll watch it just because it's on. My wife went to Iowa, so I'll watch all the Iowa football games. It's not into it. I'll watch the Bears. I'll have Red Zone on just in the background or whatever. But the Sox are the only thing like where my emotions really get going. And so I don't think I'd be willing to give that up. I think I'd probably stay in on it. Even if they move, it would suck. I agree with my Sox summer. There's nothing better than a Tuesday night, him rolling up. It's like, let's go there for 3 hours and hang out and just talk some shit and watch this game. Yeah. And one thing about baseball, the commissioner's trying to make the game shorter and shorter. No one who goes to a game gives a shit about that extra 15 minutes. People like sitting there and just chilling.
I will say it depends on the game, because I there have been a handful of games I've been to. I went to last year. I can't tell you how excited I was on this terrible White Sox team. They're coming to Washington, D.C., because I normally have to drive an hour up to Baltimore. I'll go once or twice. Best stadium. I love it. It's great. It's a drive. I can get on a subway and go to see the White Sox. Like, this happens once in a blue moon. Like, never. So, like, I got both games. I'm doing, like, the Friday night, or, like, the Monday night game, and I'm working early Tuesday morning. I don't care. That I think it was one of them, there was, like, a 20-minute delay because the ump got hit in the nuts or something. And then one of them was, like, a rain delay that Odrisamer Despaigne started and Moncada got hurt. It was just like, everything wrong with like 2018, 2019 kind of hit together. So like in a random game, like, yeah, absolutely. Like if I have to sit here an extra 20, 30 minutes, like whatever, fine. Like there are absolutely games where it's like, I need to get out. Like I want to get out of here, but I paid for this ticket. I'm only halfway through this beer. I can't carry outside. Like I gotta finish this.
And to be like it's kind of unfair, like in our judgment too, as Chirizi has the longest commute and it's like 10 minutes. Like our commute is a 10-minute walk.
It's
like
walk.
and that's kind of like how it's a little different. I just recently went up to where our guy Uncle Rico lives in South Elgin, and I used to give him shit about not coming to games anymore when he had the 2 kids and blah blah blah. And I drove up there and I was like, I would never come to a game if I was. This is way too fucking long. I would have to stop. The kids would have to piss like halfway there. Like it's just it's a hassle. And I did the same thing as you done it. I don't know if anybody knows, but I used to live out west, and I would go to see the Sox when they played Anaheim, and like I would get tickets for every fucking game they were there, because I was like, I have 5 opportunities to see the White Sox. I will see them every fucking time, and like I would beg for them at work. I would do whatever I had to do, and if I had to buy them, I would buy them. But most of the time, they just gave them to me because nobody wanted to go see the Sox, except for like 2006. Like 2006, everyone was like, "Oh, I want to go see the Sox." I'm like, "Yeah, of course you do." But yeah, no, it was That it's nice not having a real commute, and you can be 100% hammered and still walk home, and it's not a problem. Like,
we're about to move, but the place we're currently at is an 8-minute walk to the basketball and hockey arena, and then that has the metro stop right down to the ballpark. So like having them both within 20 minutes is unbelievable. Now obviously you can't do anything, but like we're about to move and it'll be a little bit further, but it still won't be an issue. But like that, like to see the White Sox in that capacity, and of course I've gone to see the Blackhawks play at a 10-minute walk, and both times they've lost like 8-0. Suck now, but like that having that definitely changes a fandom. But I think it was 2018, it might have even been 2017. Yeah, it was 2017 because it was the 2018 because it was the year Kopech got Tommy John. I saw them in Pittsburgh, New York, Baltimore, and like I want to say somewhere random as hell that I was like happened to be stopping in for a weekend. But I was like, yeah, like I have off this Thursday. I'll drive 4 hours each way on a Thursday to like go see the White Sox play. Like the below 500 White Sox play the below 500 Pittsburgh Pirates. Like PNC is great. Like it'll be awesome. And of course, like being me, I was like, all right, I'll get up an extra hour early. I got there 2 hours before the game started. They weren't even letting people into like the bleachers for batting practice yet. So like I'm walking around downtown Pittsburgh for like, all right, this sporting goods store is open. Like walk in there. Oh, you have a bunch of players' jerseys. All right, I'm done. I'm like, but yeah, like when you don't have it, like you'll do it. I was driving an hour long to go to like Winston-Salem Dash Road games. That might not even exist anymore. Those teams they're playing, but like when you gotta get that fix it, you get it. We drove to we were in Nashville a year and a half ago at this point, And on the way back, we took the long way through like North Carolina and the Blue Ridge Parkway, which if you haven't driven through, unbelievable drive. It's literally just swooping through the mountains. But I think I was looking at the map, or I was looking at the road signs, and I saw Winston-Salem, and I went, hold on. And I went and looked, and to get 20 minutes out of our way, we could get to their ballpark. And I was like, we gotta go. And they weren't playing or whatever that night, but I walked up to the front door, and I was like, can I buy a hat? And they go, no. I'm like, dude, like I'm
come on.
Crazy White Sox fan. Like, I will never be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina again. I promise you. Like, can you help me out? He goes, okay, hang on. And found like these two, like the paper thin, like giveaway hats that like if you put them in the washer, they disintegrate. He's like, I found one of these. Like, I got one of these for. It's like, awesome, cool. I have this great Winston-Salem Dash hat now. And then they changed the logo.
Yeah. And then they gave you like 3 packs of cigarettes too, and you're like, and here's some Winstons and here's some Salems. Take these back to where you're at and smoke them. They're good for you.
Bennett was like Clark Griswold at Wally World. That's what he was. Like, come on, just let me in.
I had the company like, I drove for 2 mountains.
The moose should have told you we don't have hats for sale.
All right, well, that was thing 2. Thing 3 is a question from us, and I kind of debated. I got a fun question. I've got a internet question, so I'm going to go with the internet question here. In the spirit of doing the Friday follow stuff on Sox Twitter, which I love. I love that you do that. I love that someone does it. I'm glad that you have grabbed the thing and done it, and I like that you often put a maximum on the followers. So you got to like pluck out people that are low-key really good that not a lot of people know about. I really like that angle of that shit. So in that respect, in everyone's individual opinion, and I'll let Bennett start, what makes a great Twitter follow?
So first of all, let me just say, I partially set that Twitter maximums like, 5 people. It's partially like, you don't need to tag Chi Sox fan Mike. Like, you don't need to tag from the 108. Like, right. They don't need more followers.
We don't, yeah. Exactly.
And you'll find them if you
motherfucker.
Right.
I might need a little more followers just so I can fucking beef loaf in this fucking place every
you
once
got,
in a while.
You got plenty
of
listeners.
I'll try to help you out next week.
No, I don't need more shit.
By the way, I did post the Follow Friday today. Partially because like, Twitter's gonna be a shit show. Partially because like 3 different times this morning, it was like, yeah, it's Friday. Like, I have my weekly call at 10. I'm sitting there for 5 minutes. I'm like, no one is logged in. Like, this is shit. Okay, it's Thursday. Yeah. Like it had me fucked all day. But so I think like the first major key is like a constant, like an identity, and it doesn't have to be like. Okay, I will always defend Ricky Renteria. Like, no, it can be like, I'm going to make shitty puns about this, or I'll throw a name out for an easy, for everyone, at Saves Tuesday. I make wrestling photoshops. Like, okay, that's great. Your thing. Yeah. Like, you're the guy.
Yes.
That's awesome. Like, part of it is you can't just be Jimmy White Sox. You can't just be Tony Southside. And there probably is a Jimmy White Sox and a Tony Southside.
There is. I was like, why are you throwing shade at those guys? I
apologize to both of you. It says a lot about you, though.
What a dick. That's that East Coast shit right there. I see it. All right. Yeah, it finally showed up, you know?
You don't even have to use, I use my real name because it's been my fucking Twitter for 12 years or whatever. Like, you don't have to use your real name. Obviously, you guys know. But, like, be something. Don't just be a face in the crowd. Like, stand out in some way, and it can be a way similar to someone else, but find your thing. For me, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for me, I think one of the things that I like to see out of a Twitter follow is great replies. Like I like the conversation of Twitter. That's why I'm there, right? Like to see people's reactions to something, because everyone's gonna post kind of the main thing that's going on right now. Like, oh, hey, check this out. I love the replies. Like if someone has outstanding replies all the time, I am keeping my eye on that person like a hawk, because they're going to say some funny shit on some tweets that I wouldn't even have seen. And so the replies to me are like are one of the most fun parts of it. Like, and it's just in general, I think that's one of the more enjoyable parts of a conversation is someone will come out with some shit, you know, but how do people react to that? How do people reply to that? That's always fun for me. So I like to see people who have really hilarious responses to things. Billy Wires is top of the list.
Different category.
Yeah, right.
I like replies also, but I'm also I like the guys that I've met in person. That is helpful. But I like a guy, and I'm gonna point him out. And I've met him in person, but like I didn't have to have met him in person. But Dave Farley, who always like posts pictures of himself getting drunk by a lake or in a public park or somewhere. Like I love that, and I love that he's always like he's a little bit afraid to give me shit, and like, but he's not, so he will give me shit, and I like it. And like I like, I don't know, like I've never looked at myself or any of like this 108 shit as me being anybody that's important, because I am not.
You are not. You're right.
I am
absolutely not
We
important.
can all agree on that.
100% not important. And I'm not, like, in my opinion, isn't much more important than anybody else's. So like, and I get that, but like, the only thing that I don't like in Twitter is the obvious troll, the obvious person that's trying to do something to like get reactions from people. And so I've had to institute my, if you don't have 100 followers, I don't even respond to you thing, you know. And if obviously too, if you have like 97 numbers after the name, then I'm not gonna respond to you either. But yeah, like Dave Farley is just a fun to me, because he's just doing it because he's having fun with it. Like, and he's into our stupid shit. Like, if you're into our stupid shit, like Jason Hosking, same kind of deal. Like, when he was on the Up and Up, that guy's funny as fuck, just in general, because he's such a lunatic. So, I mean, he's just good all around. Like, the fact that he sits in the 108 with us, drinks land sharks, and he's from Australia is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, it's like, why is this guy, first of all, why? Yeah, go ahead.
He was in town and for games, and he's like, "Hey, mate, can I come and just watch the Sunday Soak?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come on over."
Yeah,
so he's just standing around in my backyard, and we're doing the hot tub show, and he's yelling at us off the screen. It's like it's chaos. Like, I love it, you know.
And he sends a text message to me when he's drunk as fuck, and he's like, "Brah, I just bought season tickets in the 108." I'm like, you live 3 hours away from the park. Why did you just invest all this kind of money? And he's like, I had to do it. I had to do it. And then he sends me another drunk text, and he's like, I bought a 108 jersey. And he literally has a jersey that says 1 as the name and 08 as the number.
Wow.
It's just insanity. Like, when we're sitting around or had been sitting around and talking about doing this shit, like, we never envisioned some crazy ass dude from Australia is going to be like gung ho on this shit. So I mean, it's awesome. I mean, he's a fun follow. And it's like, yeah, I would think most of it is just like, if they're like us and they like to drink and it's just organic. Like, don't force anything. Don't try to make things funny. Don't try to do whatever. Like, we would bust Mr. Hand's balls on that shit all the time, because he would force something and he would try to do something. I'm like, you're fine. The way that you talk to us, you should talk to everybody like that.
That way.
And now he's done that, and he's really found his voice, and he's gotten a lot of response by him doing his little videos and drinking half pint glasses full of Jack Daniels and just whatever.
Insane.
Those shots are gigantic.
He has found his voice, and I'm not shocked that it included alcohol, but he's found his voice. And like, people are responsive to it, and it's fun to see. Like, you know, and this year especially, Bennett, like, I've taken like a step back. Like, I was just, you know, doing my thing. Like, I was just trying to make sure that I was okay all of 2020, and like, to see other people in Chirizi and Beef Loaf are in this group, like step up and like kind of pull the 108 with themselves has been real nice. Like, because we can't do everything all the time. And there has been, early years, I'm the one out there pounding the pavement, like meeting people, passing out cards.
Yep.
And like, then these guys this year, they fucking totally pulled it back. And like, if there's a definition for a best friend, that's kind of the deal. Because I remember like when my best man, when we lived out in Arizona, like I was going through a rough time and he pulled my ass up and was like, we're going out to the bar. I'm paying for it. We're getting fucked up. And I feel like this is how 2020 has kind of been. Like we've all kind of grabbed each other at different points, them guys mostly, and like said, hey, we're fucking doing this and you're going to fucking enjoy this. So I don't know how that relates to your question specifically, but that's how I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, you're fine.
Buying in is the key.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's kind of what I think you're trying to get.
Well, I think one thing you said in there, My Suck Summer, was like finding your own voice, and like people who are authentic and people who bring something like that is truly theirs, like that they're giving to you, even if it's insane. I think
it's valuable.
We appreciate that. I like to see someone who's like, this is who I am. I'm throwing this out. And accept it or block me, like that's
yep, right, exactly.
I'm into that. I follow most of those people.
So do I. And I was gonna say, I think for me it starts with humor. So like I really love the Unprotected Socks of the world. I love the Liam Menus of the world. Like the people that are just willing to even make fun of themselves to an extent where you're like, this is not even real. I can't believe someone would make fun of themselves in this way. I love like those kind of accounts, but I also love the accounts that will challenge sort of the status quo. And I think that's Bennett. That's why I think we get along, because we were on the Ricky. Like Ricky's fine. What is everyone saying? Why does everyone hate Ricky? Like I like those accounts that are going to say, wait a minute, I think everyone's missing something here. Let's just go the other way. Let's just see what happens when we go the other way. And it's probably why I like King Mac, and everyone doesn't agree with King Mac. And I don't always agree with King Mac. I like King Mac, but sometimes I'll say some shit I'm thinking, that's nuts. I don't agree with that. But I like that that's out there. I want that voice out there. I like Ken WO's voice out there. I don't care if I agree with him or not.
I love it. To hear his voice today.
Today, I'm not on his side today. I probably think I'm probably more neutral on the Tony La Russa side than anybody else, but he's like jumping for joy. I'm not there with you, but I like to have that voice because I don't like groupthink in general. I want stuff to push and pull against each other, and I want to think through something and just make sure that I understand how it works. I don't want chaos necessarily.
You love chaos.
Although I do enjoy it. I'm not the highest on the chaos meter in our group. That's you, My Suck Summer. I don't care what anyone says. What I don't like is people who think they're smarter than everyone. They're usually colossal morons. Like anyone who takes the populist side all the time and tries to act like they're smart, those are the people who I'm like, that's not someone I want to follow.
Or really the unpopular side too.
Well, I like the unpopular side because it's harder to argue. It's tougher to think through. How does this work? How do you? Yeah, it really is.
So
go ahead.
No. I just think that the both extremes can be are somewhat the same, because you can stick to a script on both those sides. If you're in the middle and you can pivot on shit, which I think a lot of the good Twitter accounts do, then you're okay. Because if you've already figured out that you're going to be against it, then it's not fun.
That's true. It's not organic. I agree with you there. No, that's
I think that's, and I'm going to myself, like there were definitely moments where I was like, I think the Delmonico hitting fourth thing is the most fun. We're like, even I was like, all right, like you know what? I can find an explanation for this. It's still shitty. Like I can come up with a decent explanation. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
But like, I think because it didn't even start with Ricky. I think it started with 2018 Giolito when he was the worst pitcher in baseball.
He was so bad. Yes.
And I'm sitting there and I destroyed for a month of like DraftKings where he was like 4,500 and I was like, oh, he's doing pretty well. It's like this minimum price pitcher. And there was like this 6-week period where he was just like solid unspectacular,
Yep.
an okay like number 3, but like compared to what he was. And I'm sitting there like, no one's talked about this, because now you'll get like, oh, Ronaldo Lopez threw 3 innings and only gave up 2 home runs. Like, let's write this is
pretty good.
Thought piece about like, could this be the him turning the corner? But like, he threw, and like he was shaky. He was clearly like unsure of himself. But like, no one talked about that. And like, I started bringing up like, he found something. And I've said every time he's wrong, like, oh, have a private dinner with me from Uber Eats, or have a like. If I ever won, like, that is what I want to ask him. Straight up, like, what was that, like, 6-week chunk? What did you figure out? But, like, yeah, I would always – and I agree with you with the challenging thing with Ricky. Like, okay, yeah, he's bad. But, like, is he bad or did it not work? Like, when Ricky pulls, like, a shitty decision, but it works out, like, does it matter if it was a shitty decision at that point? And so, like, you get into that group speak where it's just like Ricky sucks, and it's just like you got to look at something. You got to take a slight steps to the side or to the back and look at more of the situation. But yeah, I'm not going to defend Ricky for an hour. I could do a podcast just defending Ricky.
Bennett, you're not wrong. And the thing is, a lot of these guys, and I don't want to say every one of them because it wasn't everyone, but when he got fired and people were like, well, who do you think should be the manager? Our guy King Noms like would put that out on people when they would say he sucks. Half the people would say Omar Vizquel. and like, so then at this point, now I'm listening to you and I'm like, okay, you don't even know that he's not with the organization anymore and that he left and he's in Mexico. And then we found out other things about Omar, which are not the best.
So good. Yeah.
So it's just like you're clearly not paying attention. And I respect my man Wally Money, and I respect everything like kind of about him. Not everything, but a lot of things.
Kind of.
His baseball opinions especially. But the other day in one of our chats, he was like, man, I'd rather see Frank Thomas come in and be our coach. And I was like, are you insane? Like, how am I supposed to – now I can't take you seriously, Wally, when you say shit like that, because it's just like that's like the same – that's a group speak. It's like he was a good baseball player, so he's going to be good as a manager. That's not the case. 100% not the case.
The Vizquel one was always funny to me also. And, again, I saw a handful of Winston-Salem Dash games that he managed. And, like, this was in peak, like, 2017, 18, where it was like, oh, Ricky calls too many bunts. He does – I have never seen a game with more bunts and steals than an Omar Vizquel managed. And this was like when they were supposed to be elite. This was like, oh, Blake Rutherford's the future, and he's going to be the starting right fielder. Hey, listen. High A all-star Blake Rutherford. I think it took him 3 tries. But he's literally, and they're like, they won a game by stealing home, which like, that's awesome. But like, that's not like, you can't complain about stealing and bunts and then want that. So, and I think because the big overarch, like, oh, he'll teach Tim how to play defense. It's like, well, like, will he though? Because like, I don't know if he will. You just think he will. And it goes back to the Frank Thomas thing. Obviously, he sucked. It's Justin Jershely's the long-term answer. That's not. But yeah, like it's just about it's getting past that base level. It's not. I want Frank Thomas to be the hitting coach. I want Frank Thomas to be the hitting coach because he said something about hitting in a post game. He said. He talked about an adjustment Yohan Moncada had to make while he was struggling. It's just beyond that base level that I think really makes the difference.
Or he's been grinding in the minors, teaching kids how to hit like he used to hit, giving them hints, not sitting on a set berating other people that are doing their jobs for entertainment. I mean,
while Dicktail commercials play.
Yeah, yes. It's nuts.
Yeah, Frank's an entertainer. That's what he is right now. And nothing wrong with that. Go do that shit. I mean, it's good,
that's awesome. I'm happy for
He's good at it,
And that's the other thing with the Ricky that like really rubbed me the wrong way. It wasn't even like when he was fired. It was the 2 weeks up to it when like Ozzie Guillen was so clearly like trying to run for his position, trying to like be like, oh, see, this is Ricky Renteria. He actually he actually took a right step out of the dugout first, and everyone in Chicago knows you take your left foot step first. He should be fired. This is and it got I'm like, I couldn't even watch the post. I literally can't watch the post game show 3/4 of the time. I live here, but I catch these highlights of yeah, man. There's something about the way he spits. He's terrible. I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? You want to say he's bad? He made a bad decision. Oh, how could he not play Yohan Moncada against the Cubs? Because his fucking legs don't work. Shut the fuck up. Anyway.
You don't know this because you weren't in the stadium for the I think it was 2017, and Ricky was doing Goose Island commercials when they first signed with Goose Island, and he was doing all these commercials and whatever. And then it was 2018, and then the following year it was Ozzy. It was all Ozzy. And when we signed up and linked up with Goose Island, I was like, what happened? And basically we went to Rick and said, here's our ideas and this is what we want to do. And Rick's like, yeah, you know what? I really don't want to do this anymore. This is not my thing. I don't want to be this. So I wonder what other things Ricky didn't want to play ball with in the whole thing. And that probably plays into who, people, whatever. Yeah. And then Ozzy's like, I'll do anything.
Right.
You give me $1, I will be there. So.
Well, I think that was in this playoffs where he fucked up all this shit. The best thing Ricky Renteria did in the playoffs was pretend his microphone didn't work, so he didn't do a mid-game interview. That was the best shit. It was so good. Yeah,
I can't hear you. I don't know what you're talking
about. It was very clearly just not boring, just not a character. He was never gonna be Ozzie Guillen, despite being. Oh wow, I don't like that this Ricky Renteria guy plays with his guts, uses his gut and leaves pitchers in too long. I want Ozzie Guillen, who uses his guts and trusts his pitchers by leaving them in too long. I just hate it. He's a character. Okay, fine. So Mike Ditka can be your head coach now in 2022. It's not, you have to be more than a personality as a manager. And Ricky, okay, fine. He's not going to be a World Series winning manager, but ridiculousness.
Not wrong.
That's absolutely excellent. Bennett, thanks for joining us on Three Things. We really appreciate it. Very fun conversation. Tell Chris Liss I'm a big fan. All right. Let him know. Right? Let him know the Beef Loaf is a big fan of his shit. All right.
Tell the guy Jeff Passan killed is a fan of his.
That ain't the highlight of my month. Anytime I see Jeff Passan popping up in the net, it's so good. Yeah, seriously, thank you guys for having me on. I low-key was supposed to be coming to Chicago for a game this year. If the world returns to normal next year, hopefully I'll come out and meet you guys in person.
Awesome.
You better be in the 108. You better be.
I can promise I'll be there at some point.
Awesome. We have 15 season ticket holders now in the 108, so do not even buy tickets because somebody won't be able to go.
That's true.
So we will have extra tickets. There are so many extra
tickets
in the 108.
Yes.
So don't even worry about it.
That'll be great. I'm excited. Like I said,
you have to buy beer though, so no big deal.
I'll buy a couple. I can do that for you guys.
All Goose Island.
Of course, the best. But yeah, seriously, thank you guys for having me on.
Ben, thanks a lot, man. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.